All righty, welcome to the webinar. I think we'll get started now. It's just 1 o'clock right now on the East Coast, 11 o'clock Mountain Time. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna, the discussion today is with Lee from Fish 307. With the title, reel in more customers with targeted marketing. We're gonna dig a little bit into some campaigns that Fish 307's been executing on, but I'll start with some introductions. First, I'll introduce myself. Hello, my name is Scott Buelcher. I'm the CEO and founder of Ascent 360. I've been doing data-driven marketing for probably 15, 18 years now, and over that time I've learned an enormous amount about all forms of marketing, but specifically the sort of marketing that is driven from data. With me today is Lee Miller, who runs marketing over at Fish 307. Lee, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Lee Miller, and I am here at Fish 307, and I've spent 40 years now in specialty retailing, from starting back years ago at Zales Jewelers, and over the course of the years working for large companies, smaller companies, and basically for the last 20 years in the marketing end of the specialty retail business. So
awesome. Well, that's great to hear. Specialty retail is its own thing. It really does take, I think, a little different mindset than you might find at some of the larger big box retailers. And I think it'll actually be good and interesting to get into maybe how you think about that a little bit. Now, the goal today, just for everyone on, is for Lee and I to discuss some topics. So I've moved away from the PowerPoint. Hopefully you just see us now, and we'll just dive in. So Lee, I'll just start with tell us a little bit about Fish 307. What is the business? What's the sort of footprint, and how do you think about it?
Yeah, so Fish 307 is celebrating, I think we're on 31 years this year. We just did 30 years in business. It started as a fish and tackle retailer for the local community here in Lake George, for bait and rods and reels and lures and things. And then was one of the first people to get online with parts for trolling motors and downriggers, and today is one of the largest retailers in the country and throughout the world now, as far as the parts business goes. So over the course of the year, we ended up having actually almost two sets of customers. We have our in-store customers and our online customers. And one of the things that we needed to do was figure out how to kind of communicate to them and kind of figure out how to cross some of those things over. And so that I've been here about 4.5 years now, and that's what I've been working with Jeff and the team here to do.
Awesome. Well, that's really interesting. And so I think what you're saying is, look, there is a store, there is an e-commerce business. People are buying fishing lures and tackles and all sorts of specialty product through the store, through the website. But you've also got a business which is driving demand in a somewhat different way, and that is these fisher people who love fishing also probably have trolling motors. Things break, propellers break, so they need to buy those parts there, and they're kind of finding you through that.
Yeah, exactly. That was really kind of what the focus was for the online business, and so we were getting that, but we weren't getting online as many of the anglers, the fishermen that would come in store and everything. And so but it was running about 50-50 you know, the
Yeah.
online to in-store. And one of the things that we knew when it came time to grow was that we had to grow online
Yeah.
and grow the percentage of sales from parts to the whole world of fishing tackle.
Right.
That was where our growth was going to come from, because for us, you know, for a small to mid-sized business, we had an incredible database for of emails. You know,
That's
very
awesome. But Lee, like let's kind of dive into like how you were starting to bridge that gap. And
okay.
I think what you've done is you've said, hey, let's work with Ascent 360 and let's start trying to figure out how do we bridge the parts buyers and the anglers, and get them to, you know, I don't know, to talk about that campaign a little bit.
Sure. Well, exactly. What we had was we had this database that we had trouble using. We couldn't really get it was hard to access all that. We're a small group, so I don't have a data analyst to go in and go through 100,000 emails to figure out where they all are. So that's when we were introduced to Ascent 360 and found that this was going to be a solution that allowed us to actually take that database and begin to segment things and pull things apart as far as products that they're purchasing and how to talk to them in a more personal way, so that, you know, we didn't send ice fishing emails to people in Florida, you know, because
Right.
you know, the ice fishing season in Florida is very short, and so we wanted to be able to, you know, talk to customers in a way that they could relate to. So that was how we knew that we needed to be able to do that, and we knew that with Ascent 360 we were going to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
then the other part of which is with Ascent 360 support and everything, we started now taking apart some of that business where people who bought only parts, bought only one segment of products and never bought anything else. We started a campaign to go after, to start getting them to cross over. And that's because, again, that's where our growth is. And really, if you look at it from a point where if I were to have to go acquire new customers, new anglers, if I need to do new fishing tackle customers, I mean, I have to spend money in Google Ads. I had to acquire them is expensive.
Yeah.
But I already have them if I can figure out how to bring them back over. So that's how we started, and we literally launched this. We were already into the month of March as we're finished up, and that campaign by itself, you know, is accounting for about 10% of this month's business. So we were actually able to see, you know, right off the bat. And again, I'm not going to tell you that it was like, you know, our best, greatest thing. I mean, we actually have so much room to go there. So that's one of the most exciting things about, you know, what we're doing with Ascent 360 is, I know we're still scratching the surface, but we are getting results that we didn't get back when, you know, we were using, you know, the other guys, you know, or something like that we couldn't. And in the last 365 days, basically all of our emails, whether there are automatic plays that we have set up or our things, that also accounts for over 10% of the annual business.
Right.
Comes through that contact with the customer.
That seems like a pretty clean measurement, right? So it sounds like, look, you're a physical store in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an e-commerce presence that's doing well, but that parts business is selling all over the country and actually all over the world. Right. So you've got all these people, like, you know, that live in Oregon or whatever, who bought parts from you, but, you know, there's probably still going to some other fishing store to locally, and now all of a sudden they're like, well, hold on, these guys actually have a good inventory, and why don't I buy from them? And so it sounds like you actually used a promo code to give them a little bit of a discount to make it, hey, let's like learn more about how do I buy from Fish 307. Now I've got an account, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what we did. We just, the promo code for a special discount for this first go round, again, is really less than it would cost to go acquire
Right.
Those people. And the nice thing about it is that we can talk to these people in a different way. We don't actually have to build the same kind of trust, because that barrier is gone. It's like you trusted us to send you your parts, and you've been with us for however many years buying the parts. Hey, we'd also like to be able to help you with all of the other things that go along with your fishing needs.
Yep. Well, that's a pretty darn cool strategy, and it seems like it's easy to measure. So Lee, I know another strategy that you're kind of starting to roll out is around classes, and now this is almost, it's like, hey, look, we're targeting the whole world, but now we're also going to target a local group of people, and and I know you've got these classes. Are they all in-person classes, or are they virtual classes too, or talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so actually, if I can back up just one thing, when we started with Ascent 360, we were working only with our online business. That was it. So we were using and capturing data for that. Well, we switched over to Lightspeed POS, Lightspeed Retail, and wouldn't you know it, that Ascent 360 integrates with Lightspeed. And so now we can combine both the data points from both into our contact system. And exactly, we have moved into our new location the end of last year. And yeah, one of the things that we now have the ability to do is exactly this, these classrooms that are both in person and we stream them live online. And again, the difference between specialty retailing and instead of going to a big box is to create an experience for customers that you can't get there. So, just for example, like one of our first ones was towards right at the end of the January for ice fishing, because we get ice fishing up here, so when you can not only, sure, we sell all the stuff that needs to go with it, but we also have, these relationships with, experts in the fields that local customers can actually come and learn directly from. And whether you're here in Lake George, New York, or you're up in Minnesota, they can be online and get that same type of experience with us. And that's one of the things that we know that we want to focus and create a bridge between our in-store and our digital with this experience, with this community, that we're trying to build to, again, just kind of create that differentiation, because we don't do things on necessarily, we don't do price. That's really not the driving force of what we do. It's product, it's selection, it's taking care of the customer, and trying to create experiences for them so that they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you kind of start with, hey, let's segment the database to say we really only want to invite people to the ice fishing that may go, right? Why invite people in Texas and in Florida to the ice fishing course? So now you've already got a relatively better and smaller list, right? So people aren't getting things that are totally irrelevant to them. Then you invite them to the class, and then once they attend the class, then you can probably see, look, are they buying ice fishing gear? And now I know in the database that they're interested in ice fishing, so like that can be a future segment. Is that how you think about it?
Absolutely. What we want to be, because it actually does a couple of things for us. It gives us the data for, where they may be,
Hmm.
as far as that goes, but it also gives us the data and information so that we know what they are that they're purchasing from us, so that we can continue to create this personalization to these customers, so that we can take, a single customer whose lifetime value was here at, well, uh, I'm making up a number, $100, to $500 or
Yeah.
whatever, because we can talk to them at their level. So one of the things that we have on the board to be working on is to actually make sure that we have plays built so that if you buy a rod, a fly fishing rod today, we know that you're going to need some fly tying equipment down the road, so that
Yeah.
those things automatically go out as we develop this system using a Ascent 360 to virtually, create, an extra salesperson
Right.
that we, that we might not be able to put on right now. So,
Yeah.
uh,
You know,
and
sorry, I don't know if I told you this, but we work with an outdoor retailer on the West Coast that also does classes, and one of their stores is actually on a lake. They don't sell any fishing stuff, but they do classes also, and they do, how do you pack a backpack, but on the lake they do stand-up paddle and kayak lessons. And so, they create a form in our tool, lets people sign up for the class. And in one example, they had like 32, 34 people sign up. Not that many came to the class, but then when they looked at, well, how many stand-up paddle boards were bought by those people, it turned out to be 8, which, at a relatively expensive price point, that turns out to be just a huge ROI for them. And I think what they're thinking is like, look, this is the essence of specialty retail. You've got someone who has some interest, but it's a little bit, it's a little bit unapproachable to figure out, well, how do I figure out how do I, do stand-up paddle? Then they get in, they meet people, they realize it's not that big a deal, they get to try it out on the lake, and then they're like, I'm in. And now you've got a relationship with them. I mean, a personal relationship, not even a digital relationship.
right, right. Well, and again, I think that's one of the fun things, the exciting things about specialty retailing is that, those people are avid consumers and advocates of what you do. If you're a real angler and you go into a real angler's garage, they don't have one fishing pole. They have a wall of fishing poles, and whatever the neatest and newest thing comes in, they're the first ones in the door in the morning when they know that we have it coming in to get it. And
Yeah.
and like you said, price is not necessarily a barrier for anything. And I think our first in-store class had very light in-store turnout,
Yeah.
but the people that were here literally, made the day,
Yeah.
because they purchased high end ice fishing gear. So
Yeah.
that's what the nice thing is that we don't have to always sell $1 at a time,
Yeah.
and need 10,000 people to come through the door every week. So
Yeah.
that's key. Yeah.
No, I actually was on your Facebook page, and I looked, you've got a meme where a little kid says to an adult, he's crying, he said, I spent all my money on toys. And the adult looks back at him and says, just wait until you learn how to fish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right, well, let's keep moving. So you've hooked up a couple of systems, and I think one of them is BigCommerce, one of them is Lightspeed, and you also I think had sort of a shipping tool that data needed to get in there. So like, what's that experience been like? Has it been a real journey to get all that data integrated?
So yes and no.
Yeah,
We tried to be, very careful how we built things so that we we look for tools that integrate with what we have. So,
yeah,
so that's normally one of our decisions. And of course, back when we switched and went with Ascent 360, yes, the data segmentation and the tools was the biggie. That was,
yeah,
the big driver, but also the integration with BigCommerce.
yeah,
Um, and we use Shipping Easy
yeah,
for processing that was there so that, and at that time, I don't think we had switched to Lightspeed yet. So,
right.
that became our bonus on top of it. So, because again, when you're, if you're a big box store, you have departments that handle,
Yeah,
shipping and all of the integrations. Here, there's a handful of us, and we just switch the hats.
right.
So today, um, at this point in time, for the next few minutes, I'm going to be I'm going to be marketing, but
Yeah,
then we may have an issue that we need to get something. Some product line comes in, and it's all hands on deck in the warehouse, checking something in. So
yeah,
um, that's
uh,
the great thing, is that the support is just as important as the thing, because as I rely on the support from Ascent 360. It's
yeah,
a quick scale away.
yeah,
I don't have to um, you know be a email marketing engineer to be able to do anything. So I have to be able to, in the course of the day, like, go, okay, something just happened and I need to get that email out, need to do it, in fast. So
yeah. That's right. Well,
mhm.
that's really interesting to hear, and it's good to hear that you like your tools. I know, we do have a lot of people who call us and say, hey, I'm on ABC. What do you think about BigCommerce? What do you think about Lightspeed? Or what do you think about Shopify? And it's always good to have at least some insight into a world in which you've got tools working for you.
Yeah, yeah. And again, and we looked at it. I mean, again, we don't have, unlimited budgets that we can just go do whatever we want. So we knew we had to go to the next level tool
Yeah,
for what we were doing. And and again, it was one of those things, Jeff, the owner, is always behind making sure that the tools that Fish 307 uses are able to not just maintain what we're doing today, but able to maintain growth
yeah,
going forward. And we looked exactly at this as this is an investment, and it pays for itself, just for the fact that, again, I mean, I don't have to have a data analyst. I don't have
yeah,
to have a staff in order to generate the things that we need to do
right.
from that contact perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
Mhm.
So let me shift gears a bit. When I was looking at your database, one of the things that I think impressed me the most was just the size of it.
Mhm.
And for context, we definitely talk with a lot of specialty retailers, and some of them will say, I really haven't started building a database yet. We don't ask people for emails, or it's just hard to ask people for emails. And sometimes we'll have a pretty decent sized business that will say, we've only got let's say 4,000, 5,000 customer records, even though they've been in business for a while. You guys are sort of fundamentally different, and I won't say the size of your database, but if you want to, feel free. But it's fundamentally larger, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering how did you get there, and how did you make it a priority? And like what was it an intentional strategy, and what's the process there?
So the nice thing about that is that it really was driven from the online side
Yep.
to begin with. And again, when Fish 307 started, literally, we'll sell everything from a 30-cent washer that goes into something to a $3,000, motor extension or
Yep.
that goes, or something like that. So we have this mass, this mass amount of customers that had
Yeah.
come through, and again, the owner had the foresight to, go ahead and start with, we switched. I think we've been on BigCommerce for 12 or 13 years,
Right.
which isn't really far from when BigCommerce started,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so, when you have the foresight to know that you have to have some of these tools in place, it saves you some of that. So that, and again, in fishing also is a little bit different as far as the life cycle of a customer. If you were like in my old days at Zales or at a jewelry store, people buy something every 5, 6, 7 years or whatever the turn is. And here it's, you can buy something every other week or something like that. So
Right.
yeah, we have
That's a big
considered
deal.
a different, yeah. If an independent retailer, has 5 to 10,000, maybe even up to 10,000 customer contacts, yeah, we're 10 times that as
Right.
far as, so.
Yeah, it's great to see, and I just know that it really does. It helps you segment. It helps you use the database, right? You've got good sized audiences for everything that you want to do. I know we're getting short on time. Maybe I'll just kind of finish with. I think you're thinking about doing some sort of web tracking stuff, right? Which is put our pixel on your website, so we're seeing people walk around your website. What's your strategy there?
Yeah, no, exactly. We know that data drives growth,
Yeah.
and those are all of the tools that we know we have to keep adding on, and we do them as, again, I consider it a fundamental way. We do it where we start at the foundation, then we start framing, and we just keep going from there. So, we get our hands around this, and then it's like, okay, now let's learn how to really use this tool. Let's use Ascent 360, because we have we haven't used it all yet. So that's the great thing. And so again, I know that some people are a little worried about in today's economic climate and this and that, and we are as well. However, we're still seeing increases, and that's after kind of that crazy period during the pandemic. So
Yeah. Well, to everyone on the phone, we actually had some slides and a bunch more to talk about, but honestly, I could talk to Lee forever, and I just learned from him, and I really enjoy the way he thinks about it. Right? He kind of comes at this whole problem with a philosophy, and then a sort of curiosity that ultimately translates into all sorts of good stuff. I know we're actually a minute over now, so we won't do the slides, but Lee, I really appreciate your getting on the phone, and hopefully everyone on the line kind of got some ideas, or even a little bit of kind of energy and excitement to go try this stuff.
Yep. No, and again, and we thank you and all of your group for the support. We couldn't ask for a better partner in our business.
Awesome. Well, I sure appreciate it. Have an awesome day, and we'll chat again soon.
Okay.